Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network, a station dedicated to the concept that all manifestations of the divine are equally valid. Join Reverend Terry Power HP, Robin McKean, and all the hosts for programming covering a wide range of spiritual topics, right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to an emerging forest, a safe place where we have the freedom to think about life without judgment. We take a look at society, we examine it, and we allow for the possibility of something new, something different. And now, here's your host, Alan Ritter.
Welcome, everyone, to a busy Sunday night. It is another episode of An Emerging Forest. And what we're doing tonight is something I organized quickly at the last minute because there was an opportunity to follow up on Touch Mother Earth. And to do that, I want to bring in Dave Miller, the organizer, promoter, visionary, person who created Touch Mother Earth. So how are you this evening, Dave?
Well, thank you, Alan. Thank you for inviting me. And yes, we had little time to plan this, but not really, because this is an ongoing event. You know, it's first of all, I want to shout out Happy Father's Day to everybody out there, and that includes the single mothers, the single fathers. We're all taking responsibility for the brood that's going to be the next generation. There you go.
So you had a festival, and of course the festival has been growing and not necessarily growing, but maturing and giving a more mature offering. So do you want to tell us a little bit of a thumbnail about what Touch Mother Earth is for those people who aren't familiar with it at all?
Sure, thank you. Touch Mother Earth is a compilation of people I believe in who bring together their talents and they share it to an audience that is willing. Some of them know each other, some of them don't. Some of them have tried these things, some of them have never tried these things. And the main thing is, in bringing people into this weekend event, we create a safe space. And when I say a space, I mean kids can be there. We watch each other. We watch each other's stuff. It's organized and yet at the same time fluid. Things happen in real time. Things change, cancellations, spontaneous drum circles. It's all about creating a village for the weekend so that people can experience something, and then the real goal is taking it after the event and sharing it with others.
Right, and that's sort of, I saw you, I think, yesterday that you were active on Facebook, and I said, yeah, that's exactly what we should start doing. We should start doing the after, okay, the event happened. What happens next? Do we do we reach out to everyone and put the onus on them to take responsibility for themselves for the rest of the year? Or do we just let it say, oh, okay, we're just going to have another big event, 365 days from now, and, or do we put a support net out there for those who actually want to grab a hold of it? And before we go any further, I'd like to bring on my co-host, David. Hi, David. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Alan? How are you, Dave?
Hey, David. I think we talked on the radio a month or so back.
Yeah, a while ago. I couldn't make it out to the event. I was working that weekend, unfortunately. But I do know I heard about the closing ceremony. I heard it was really nice, and I heard the event itself went really well. So congratulations.
Thank you. And, yeah, I support any questions you have. To answer Alan's question, there are a variety of people who attended the festival. There are those who regularly either co-create events or they themselves being teachers. They're used to doing their own thing. And then there were the participants who tried it for the first time. And there's a big difference between how each of one would reflect afterwards. So those who are used to doing events, they have a certain stability because they're looking forward to the next event, maybe in 3 weeks, a month, or whatever. They will have their own event, or I will bring them to one of the venues that I work with. Then there are the people who, we could call them off-the-street people. They heard about it, they were curious, and they thought it fit for them. And those are the ones that woke up the most, because they saw that we were able to create a substantial village for a weekend where everybody felt safe and protected, where, you may have bought something from somebody, you may have bartered something, you may have watched somebody's tent, you may have helped with the kids program, the volunteers. Some of these people had never been to a festival, and those are the ones that are reaching out right now the most. They're saying, why is the world not like this all the time? And we need to provide a certain amount of aftercare, some safety net, so they know that this isn't once a year. And that's very important. And I do want people to know that there are websites, which I'll mention, and there are ongoing events. This is not wait until next year.
So, Dave, let's actually mention your next event. There's one of you guys has some background noise going on.
You just heard some fireworks. You might have just heard some fireworks going off in the background. Yeah, somebody was popping something.
Okay. I just wanted to take care of that or know what it is. So why don't we, at the top, mention that you have another event coming up and sort of give a few minutes on that, because it is important, because it is a follow-on event.
Okay, great. I found that there were some people who couldn't attend this event, and there were definitely people who attended it and said, when is next? So we have already booked August 24th, 25th, and 26th at 2 Hope Hill Farm, which is also in Warren County. It's about 15 minutes away from where Mount Eden was, where we held Touch Mother Earth. And it's going to be a simpler version. I basically, when I created Touch Mother Earth, I created a 5-ring circus. We had the kids program, the music, everything from mind, body, spirit, the natural, the Tai Chi, the dance, all these things came together. And it was kind of hard. I mean, people wish they could clone themselves and go to all of them. And, that's wonderful. So I want to give a thank you back. And I want to offer it as a simpler form where we can come together with an opening ceremony on Friday. It'll be camping only. There's no beds in this, but it's a farm that looks like an 1800s village. There's a couple horses on the farm. It's a really nice property, and I want people to be able to come, and we'll wake up and we'll have a group activity. Now, it might be yoga, might be Tai Chi, and then a breakfast. And the breakfast will be a communal breakfast. So the price will include everything, and they'll be able to go through that, and then they might break off into two different workshops. Maybe you're more nature-oriented and you want to go there, and someone else might want to have a discussion group. But then we'll reconvene. We'll do a communal lunch. We'll have some music. We will break off into one or two other workshops, not crazy. And then for the evening, as we wind down, again, another communal meal, pass the talking stick where we can share what is going on in our heads, because that's really important. Communication is extremely critical. You go to these events, you have a great time, and you go home and you say, now what? And I want people to be able to feel that their voice is equal, that everybody gets to share. And then we'll have some more night music, probably some drumming. Drumming might be one night, might be 2 nights. I'm still formulating it. I've got a lot of people that were there just June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and they want to come back. They want to know how they can participate, because now they've been activated. Now they are aware that we can co-create this community, and I think it's very important that their voice is included in future decisions. I can put together, I do drum circles 3 times a month. First Friday, second Saturday, third Sunday. I do other events. I bring bands together. I bring people who have all kinds of healing modalities, whether it be Reiki, Tai Chi. I would like all these people, as a thank you, to be able to come back and participate in a much simpler level, and then really connect with the participants on a much deeper level than we did. So that's the goal of this next major event.
So are you going to have a title for it, or is it going to be like Touch Mother Earth 2, or what?
We were debating to say Touch Mother Earth Light, because it's going to be at Hope Hill Farm, and because a friend of mine lived there, Nadine, beautiful, shining woman. I'm working on the working title.
There you go.
I can guarantee you it will be published. I know that not everybody is a Facebook person, so they may not see the invite that way, but we do have a website, and that is touchmotherearth.com. So they'll be able to see the official invite. The date, is set. I've already spoken with the owner, and we do have some things planned that are going to be a little different than the other festival, because there were some things we either couldn't include or people weren't available and wanted to be included. And I want to make sure that, again, we are taking stewardship of the earth and one another and pay it forward in whatever fashion.
So let's go back. That's a really good thing to have the first 15 minutes of the show, because it gives a main. Hey, we really, here's the coming attraction. We really want to get this news out there. So to have it out there in the first 15 minutes is great. But if you would take a moment to return to the first 3 days of June, and sort of describe and put yourself in the moment of a few memories that really touched you, or said, okay, that's really added value that I didn't see that one coming from Touch Mother Earth this year.
Well, thank you. That's well versed question, because we got bigger this year. We were involved with the township, and once you get involved with the township, there are the permits and making sure that it's every safe. And even though I've been doing events at this location for almost 20 years, there was still, is the water safe? The Board of Health wanted to know that. Are the buildings up to code? They wanted to know if the fire was safe. And they knew we were going to have a fire. There was a permit to have the nightly fires. And we even had fire dancing, so there was a permit for that. So it was a learning curve for me, and it was a good one because I found I got over some of my personal fears. Working with the town seemed like it was going to be really hard. I mean, my fear was I wasn't going to be able to have the event. But when I shared them my vision, I showed them that we were organized. I showed them that we had a map of the land. We did what they needed to do for fire safety, and all those things were taken care of. They all signed off one by one, and two of the officials were actually there over the weekend. And the beauty for me on Friday, after we went through the final check-off and everything looked good, they went home. They told us we're in charge and that they would come back on Saturday and let us enjoy the festival, and we wouldn't have to do the minor inspections, etc. And one of the fire marshals came back on Saturday, and he said to me, Dave, when I left Friday night, I could feel that everybody was happy. And he said, I went home happy. He said, you bring such joy that everybody is coming together for a common reason, because we had an opening ceremony. It was very potent. We had 40-some people all hugging this huge, 80-year-old tree. And we had singing. We had live processing of information. It was my friend Akinyele who led the ceremony together with Leticia and Richie, worked seamlessly to organize a star is a seed is a star. And that chant was repeated. And as it grew, the group grew. And as the group grew, the group trusted. And as the group trusted, we felt a purpose. And as we felt the purpose and went to this tree, I know this, some people are like, oh, we're tree huggers. No, this was about honoring our intention for the entire weekend. And we did. We really did. And you could feel it throughout the weekend. I mean, there were kids there that had scooters. They were running up and down. There were so many blessed workshops that everybody was coming out of, and they said, I never tried that before. And they took that chance, and they felt it. The people that camped for the entire weekend were essentially the main, for lack of a better expression, tribe. But then you had the daily people who came in, and they would see that we had set up a village. We were a communicative village. Everything was organized. You could come in, you pay, you park. It was no big deal. The bathrooms were fine. Man, this guy's setting up fireworks in my backyard. I apologize. But everything was really motivating. So they felt at ease. I mean, you might go to a strange place and not know where you fit in, but here you came in and you were already a friend. You were honored for who you were. It didn't matter if you had special needs. We took care of that. We assisted and accommodated everybody. The food was delicious, and you had a choice. You could go to the music, or you can go to the workshops. If you had kids, we had absolutely wonderful workshops. In fact, I'm hoping at some point Olga will be online, because Olga Katina, she was new this year, and she works with recycled lumber, helping kids to build a garden box. And then we had Rutgers Gardens donated us 12 flats of plants, and some of them went right into the ground. so that we could beautify the place, and some of them were there for the kids to pick and choose. And they got to create art with nature and bring it home with them. And that's how you open up some eyes. That's how you create a situation where you don't know how you've touched that person. And the parents wanted to do it too. It wasn't just for the kids. So for them to be able to try, maybe they never handled a drill before, a drill and nails and whatever. They were able to build something, see progress, instant success, take home something that's a memory, feel that they participated. That's the kind of energy we had at the festival.
Yeah, it's really like being in a non-threatening environment where you can try new things and not be looking around like, oh, am I really allowed to do this?
It's something that I grew up with. It's not something that I just suddenly imagined out of my head. I mean, I lived across the street from a ballpark where I went as a very young person. I sold soda and popcorn and coffee and all that. And then by the time I was a teenager, I was working the teen festival where they had live bands. That took me to the radio at Rutgers. And then from there, I promoted bands. I had regular stints at various locations. And I always sort of like mom wants to cook for everybody, that kind of energy. I just knew that this was my calling. And the timing's kind of interesting because in 2 days is going to be the 42-year anniversary of my dad dying. I was 16. So I became sort of a second dad to my younger siblings. And as a caretaker of sorts, I learned certain responsibilities. I mean, I wasn't not an adult yet, but I really did find that those skills moved me forward as an organizer of community. And now
Dave,
here we are.
How did that shape your life at that point? What was that like? How did and I guess the other question would be, how has that evolved into what you're doing with Touch Mother Earth and the events you've done in your life? Because at 16 years old, taking on that role, that's a huge. Was he sick, or did it happen all at once? I mean, what was that?
My dad had been ill. He had been in and out of hospitals. He died of cancer. We watched him slowly fade away. We were there the day before he died. The whole family got to see him, and it was actually a teen festival the very next day when the phone call came in that he'd passed. So I learned move forward. Now, that doesn't equal processing what happened.
Sure.
Processing took everything. I mean, I don't mind saying that I went through counseling and, we tried to do what we could. The family did actually kind of come apart. I mean, when my dad was around and when he was healthy, everything that we did was around the dinner table. Didn't matter if you were talking about your allowance, if we're going to go camping, how's your homework. All those things were talked about, and each child, some more vocal than others, myself being more vocal, but we got to talk about what was going on. And so there was that communication. And I will admit, when my dad died, my mom was totally, there's no verb for it, flabbergasted. I mean, she didn't know what to do because the love of her life was gone. But we did piece ourselves together, and we all moved on. 2 of the kids moved out to California. My other one moved out for a while, but came back to New Jersey. And, I'm in touch with them each on different levels. And I've seen that they've been able to grow, and they each have their own strengths. My sister out in California is a community advocate for the homeless. And she's been in front of public speaking and township meetings where she said, you cannot tear this building down. You've got people living there. And they've taken back the building. I mean, they've, accepted that they should transition this building in for homeless. So that's pretty potent. My brother went on to be a dog handler, and it started with him training dogs for police and other, but he has moved beyond that. He sells dog tack, as they call it, and he gets things made and provides them. And then my other sister, the one who's in New Jersey, became an advocate for people who are disabled, whether it be a mental level or a physical level. And in fact, she was at Clearwater this weekend with her own booth, and it's her third year there, advocating for those that are underrepresented. And that tells you something about how our parents raised us. And they were young. I mean, I was 16. We're talking 14, 9, and 7 when Dad died.
So as the oldest, you were you're put in that position to take on that role.
Well, I wasn't the only one. Sister number one, who was 2 years younger, we both kind of got put into it. But it's something I can look back now, because it's over 40 years, and realize it strengthened me. There were periods of time I had my doubts. But if I look at my ability to do what I do now and feel it, put my genuine foot forward into creating events where people feel welcome and space, I'm still being Dad, but I'm doing it in a different way.
On a more universal level.
Sense.
No, it does.
What
you're saying is you're on a much more universal level. I mean, that kind of shaped where you were going to go at that point, and then the events you do now are your way of as you said, welcoming people.
Thank you. And that's a good portion of it. It's just really like when I have events, I generally try to bring a minimum amount of food. It could be potluck if people want to join in, but I want to make sure that people have water to drink that's not chlorinated, and the food that I bring is generally organic and vegan. Sometimes it's vegetarian, but I always bring them some options that maybe they didn't try before, or maybe it's tried and true, some chips and salsa kind of thing. But I work with creating an environment, whether it be their first time to a drum circle, or the first time to hear kirtan chant, or the first time checking out Berry Blues, or whoever it is that I am sponsoring and promoting, I'm letting them know you're welcome here, and it comes from my heart.
Yeah, on that note, let's take the bottom of the hour break. Hey, everybody, it's Dave the Bard singing Howl and Toe. Talk to you in a few minutes.